Cheers to adulting.
Hello,
Hi, everybody.
I'm Ashley Barajas.
And I'm Abby Rosemarin.
And this is Cheers to Adulting. We still got it.
Still got it,
It's
baby.
been ages.
Total ages.
Ages.
Let's just say we were on a summer break.
Yeah. And it's not like we were having fun. Well, maybe you were.
Yeah, I'm spoiled rotten. But
And meanwhile, my job in the summertime, I work like 50 plus hours a week. And before, like, that's not like me complaining. That's just like a statement of fact. Because I'll tell that to people and they'll say, oh, I'm so sorry. And I have to say, no, it's okay. Like, I volunteered for this. I want this. I am here for it. Because in the off season, I don't have the opportunity for overtime, really. It's like very, very rare. I usually work about 32 hours a week. So I tell them, sign me up for as long of a shift as possible, as many hours as they're willing to give me. And so I work like 8:30 a.m. to like 7 or 8 p.m. And making that bank, making that overtime.
making that cash, making
But
it rain.
yeah, but it also means it's really hard to try and schedule a night that all three of us can come and record.
I feel like even when it's like more of the off season for all of us, it's just really tough to get all three schedules to come together. And I might be calling out our camera guy over here, but I know one of the reasons why he was busy was he was putting together a very lovely video compilation for his now fiance, who he proposed to, and she technically said no, but she actually meant yes, which would make sense if you were one of the people who watched the video.
It was the sweetest thing ever, and if Pat gives the permission, I would love to share it on our Facebook page.
Yes.
Yay!
So make
Mazel tov!
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov!
So make sure to check that out when this episode goes live.
Yay! I'm so happy to share it! And very sad that Jess is now off the market. He ruined my chances.
Maybe it will be an open marriage. You don't know.
One can only hope.
Anywho.
So, let's talk about, well, I guess one of my adult things I already said was working. Like, for example, today was my day off. And being my day off, I had originally planned to do adulting things like clean, take care of some laundry. However, one of the people that I sporadically clean for had messaged me and like things changed. She was moving out and she could move into a place early. So she was trying to coordinate to see if I could come clean early. And of course, the only day I could coordinate, my day off.
Dang.
Yeah, so
Get more of that money.
it was going to be like a 3 to 4 hours, but then I got there and I was like, oh, well, we'll see how it goes. And I had told Pat already, the kitchen and the bathroom when had been like 4 hours.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so
Oh, boy.
then she came in to check in on me and I'm like, so you said you only wanted like 3 to 4 hours, but I still have like the rest of this whole place to do.
Oh,
She's
no.
like, stay as long as you want if you can, but if you have to go, I understand. And I'm like, if you're willing for me to stay, I will stay.
If you are going to pay me hourly, I will stay for some more hours.
Yeah, but fortunately, I was there for 6.75 hours. I texted her. She's like, oh, you were there a lot shorter than I thought, which is good because I felt like I accomplished as much as I should have in the day, and I still wanted to like get home at a reasonable hour. But yeah, that was my adulting. It was fucking hot, and I also had like the oven clean on for like an
boy.
hour.
That cooks the entire house.
Yeah, but at that point, like cleaning in that heat, I had like took off my shirt, so I was just like in a sports bra and leggings.
It was one of those cleaning services.
Yeah, they're both you know, to the persuasion of ladies, so it's fine. I felt comfortable.
And that's why they tipped generously.
Well, they tipped me in food. They got me lunch, which was nice.
Nice.
But yeah, I was thinking about like how hot it was, and I was like sweating so much. But it was kind of good. It made me think, I was like, this is kind of like a Bikram class when you're like exercising and the sweat is just really nice. And it feels like you're quote unquote detoxing.
Yes. Like the feel of detoxing anyways.
Yeah, it felt good.
Nice.
It was a good day. But it kind of made me disappointed that I didn't get home early enough to tend to my own house.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like they say that the cobbler's kids have no shoes, that kind of thing. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Whatever it is that we've been doing for our work or for other people, it's really hard to do for ourselves. So it's all good.
Yeah.
No one is judging here in this household.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that much.
Well, at least nobody who matters, Michael.
Eat her crab rangoons.
Like, that is what happens when you eat my crab rangoon when I'm driving to this place from my last class.
No, I'm hoping I get off early enough tomorrow night to clean some of the floors.
Nice. But yeah, let's see.
And you?
And me. So I got to admit, I'm kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to summertime. Again, I am spoiled rotten. 3 of my classes went off the schedule for the summer. And it's just, there's a usual drop in attendances. One of the classes used to be year round, and we just had a shit time getting people into the class during the summer. So they're like, hey, you get a summer break. Well, see you in September. Which exactly like that, with that accent and everything. But that gives me a lot of free time, and I have been tackling the New Hampshire 4,000 footers like a motherfucking boss as of late, right? Like a boss. Hit that peak like a boss. Sprain your ankle like a boss.
Drink some water.
Like a boss. Which, by the way, hydration, super important for those who are thinking of hiking. You get some freaking water with you. Okay.
Have some salt.
Like a boss. Need your electrolytes. Like a boss.
True. Like, actually bring some salty snacks.
Exactly. Water toxicity is a thing. Anyway, so I have been doing a lot of hikes, including today. Actually, I was planning to wake up at 3 a.m. to get this hike in because it was really far away and a really long hike, and I still had to get back in time for my afternoon class. So I was like, I'm going to wake up at 3 so I can get to the trailhead at 5.
Oh.
And I have learned
How long was the hike?
So it was about a 10-mile hike.
You have a little schmutz.
Oh,
I got
schmutz.
it. Never mind.
Thank you. So it was about a 10-mile hike, and it took about 5.5 hours to do. I knocked that bitch out of the park, but it was also a 2-hour drive to get there because I'm getting all the peaks. For those who don't know the New Hampshire 4,000 footers, it is a list of 48 official peaks. There's actually way more peaks than just 48, but they don't count because they're too close to one or something like that. And you are just trying to get all of them. You're Pokemoning it up. You're trying to get them all. And that means sometimes you are driving to the remote corners of the White Mountains, which means you're on the fucking road for a couple hours. And today I must have been so tired of hearing my alarm clock and being jarred awake and just hating life that I naturally woke up at 2 in the frickin' morning. And about 2:15, I was like, why am I even trying to get back to sleep?
That's not even morning. That's like you just went to bed and you woke up to go pee.
Right? And honestly, my husband, Isaac, who is a night owl, I'm pretty sure he got to bed half an hour before I woke up. Just to give an idea of what was going on there in terms of my schedule. But I would say my adulting is that even though I have been basically getting to act like a college kid on summer break and taking hiking as much as twice a week, usually on Wednesdays and some Fridays, I'm still getting shit done. Like, today was technically Invoice Day, and y'all who have listened to this podcast know how much I fucking love Invoice Day.
We love it.
I love Invoice Day so much. I love administrative work.
It's the most interesting topic in the world.
I know, right? And I hauled ass on yesterday to get that shit done so I could go on my hike. And then when I got back, even though I was exhausted out of my skull and wanted to just basically watch Netflix and nap until my class, I was like, nah, bitch, I gotta send those invoices out. And I fucking did it. And washed some dishes and cleaned the house. I am still adulting, right? I might not be adulting professionally right now, but I'm at least adulting domestically.
I just realized it was the 31st today.
Yeah, August is tomorrow, bitch.
It's my dad's birthday. RIP.
Oh,
R.I.P.
yeah.
I don't know how old he would have been today.
Hmm.
Old?
I guess, what was
Let's
his
see.
birth year?
2019 minus 1936.
Oh, goodness.
83. He would have been 83.
Wow. Your dad was 5 years older than my dad, and I thought my dad was old.
Yeah.
That's
Old.
crazy.
He was 50 when I was born.
Wow. Yep. That makes sense. He was 46 when I was born.
And my mother was 23 when I was born.
Oh, buddy, get it. Fucking
Right?
get it.
And it wasn't gross. Because,
Yeah.
my dad looked good for his age.
Hey, age like a fine wine. You know,
Right?
why not?
Exactly.
Hey, if you can get
Plus,
it.
my mom already had 2 kids under her belt at the
I know,
time.
so she was already an adult. It wasn't like she was plucked
Yeah,
out of college
she
or
was
something
a
like that.
mom.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
But, rest in peace.
RIP.
The most respectful way
Exactly.
to pay tribute to the dead is rip.
RIP. I heard my coworker Brittany said that the other day. I think about like an animal or something, and she was like "rip," and I was like "rip." Oh, she meant R.I.P. It's so ironic and hilarious. Anyway,
Let's
on to the show.
on to the show. What is our topic this week?
So our
Ashley?
topic of this week is love languages.
Love. Because we all express love differently, and we all feel loved by different actions.
We all desire love differently,
Exactly. And the beautiful
like fisting.
and for those, well, for basically anyone who isn't me or Ashley, because even those watching the video are not going to see what just happened, but there was a certain gesture that just happened behind the camera, which is why Ashley said what she said. And you know what? I'm just going to say that's probably under acts of service. To give you guys a sneak preview, if you guys don't know what love languages are, it's not, one of them is not fisting, though. I'm sorry. But
Well,
anyway,
in her book,
I mean,
we're not kink shaming.
yeah, I ain't here to kink shame. If
We don't
fisting
kink
is a love
shame.
language for you, get on it.
We're a
Or
sex
get in it.
positive
Exactly.
podcast.
Amen to that.
Kink
'Cause
away,
slut
buddies.
life.
I am feeling like I drank too much already.
All right.
Woof.
Oh boy. But anyways, so we have these love languages. So the idea is that they can more or less fall into 5 categories. Now those 5 categories are words of affirmation, acts.
Fisting.
I don't know if that's under words of affirmation, but sure. Acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. So these are actually pretty common or pretty recent in terms of. I realize I don't have my notes from
Recent-ish.
recent-ish. Let's see. I'm
Because
gonna
1995, that's like...
Oh my god.
Yeah, think about that, man.
That's not okay.
That's not
24 years
recent-ish.
ago. That's not recent.
That's an
at
adult.
all. Jesus Christ.
Adult amount
the love
of time.
languages are almost old enough to rent a car.
Yeah.
This is not okay.
It's funny, like, you think 90s and you're like, oh, that's recent-ish.
And
It's
then you're like-
recent-ish in our brain because we were like, adolescents. We were youths.
Yeah.
Youth.
But now babies that were born in the 90s have graduated college.
This
and,
is like drinking age.
right? Like,
knowledge.
This is some crazy shit, man. So it's not recent at all. But
It was within the past couple of decades, so that span of recent.
Exactly. So they were created by a Dr. Gary Chapman. He wrote a book called The 5 Love Languages. And the idea is that all of us tend to have a primary love language. I mean, I like to think we all will receive and give out love in the 5 love languages to some degree, but it's definitely, there's a hierarchy. You definitely have a primary one, you probably have a secondary one, and there's probably one that's dead fucking last.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go through them really quick and talk about what it means if it's your love language, what it means to receive it, and what it would take to make someone feel unloved if they have that particular love language. So the first one up is words of affirmation. So that means verbal communication is how you feel the most loved and secure. So it will be things like saying, I love you, you're special to me, but they can also be compliments like, you look really good tonight, you look so sexy, you're so smart, that kind of thing. It really is, words are more important than actions, if you will. So if you are with somebody who has...
I have a perfect example.
Oh, tell me about this.
So I guess it's going to be kind of a back and forth sort of thing. So buckle up, buddies.
All right.
So they'll remain anonymous. I have a coworker, and she has a long distance relationship, and her partner is all about words of affirmation. As soon as he wakes up, he texts her and is like, "Good morning, I love you, blah, 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 blah. Hope you have a great day, yada, yada, yada." And she's not a words of affirmation. And she got out of habit of texting back, same sort of bullshit. Not that like she doesn't mean it, but it becomes, I was trying to explain to her, it's like a computer thing. Like it kind of loses its meaning. Not that you don't feel it, but it just feels unnecessary. And for her, she doesn't feel the need for that. Just like I've had to adjust with Michael. He's horrible at texting, phone, none of that. So he's a in-person kind of communicator, and I am a texter. I'm not like insane, but I'm pretty on point. Like I get anxiety seeing that I have an unread text.
Oh no. If it's anything, I'm the same way too, and especially as a yoga teacher where I can't like really be checking my phone in the middle of class. I will have it go off on my watch and I will be like, "Oh my fucking God, I have an unread message and it's going to be another hour before I can respond." Oh my God. It's not fun.
Yeah. So I was trying to tell my coworker about love languages and talking about, well, it's not important for her to text all day. And for her, like a huge valid point is the fact that at the end of the day, especially since they're not, within the same state, if they're going to talk on a phone call, well, they've talked all day via texting. There's nothing left to talk about.
That is actually very true. Like, unless you are that type of couple that can talk about literally anything.
Yeah.
If you've been talking all day on the text, like, what can you do on the phone then?
And I find that it's a great advantage for my relationship that because Michael doesn't text all day, when I get home, I have so much to talk about.
Yeah.
So much so that I often will be like, "Oh, I didn't tell you this."
There you go. More
Gotta
meaningful
pick and choose my
conversation.
battles.
Hey, and I mean that navigating love languages is a huge thing. So just getting very quickly onto what it takes to make a person feel unloved. Using that example about the texting, if you are somebody who's a words of affirmation type of person, but the person you're with is not a words of affirmation person at all, and is like, "Why the fuck are you keep texting me?" They're going to feel neglected. I always think about this workshop I went to when I was a preschool teacher. This is actually the first time I learned about the 5 love languages. She was talking about words of affirmation, and she said that her husband was so not a words of affirmation person that he straight up told her, "I told you I loved you at our wedding. I'll let you know if anything changes." Fucking deal. I mean, that's beautiful and memorable. Like, goddamn, 10 years later, I still remember that shit, but holy shit, that's brutal. Like, so you can imagine if you are not telling the person you love them or telling them that they're sexy or texting them, they're probably going to feel pretty unloved.
Yeah, and I need some of that. And it sucks because he's not a words of affirmation, but he knows that I am. Mm-hmm. So when he's in a lovey mood, he'll lay it on thick, and I'm very easy to please. I'm like a fucking puppy. Any sort of attention I can get,
me love.
I just fall apart, and I'm like, "Oh, you said I'm pretty."
Which we'll be talking about throughout this podcast, that sometimes you do have to speak a language that isn't your primary language, and that's okay. Like, sometimes you just you learn to speak other languages if you're traveling internationally. You don't go, "Well, gee, Spanish isn't my primary language, so fuck this language, I'm not going to speak it." No, you adapt, improvise, adapt, overcome, as fucking Bear Grylls would tell you. Anyway.
What?
Have you ever seen that meme with Bear Grylls who's like, improvise, adapt, overcome? And it'll be like some dumb shit, and then somebody does something even dumber to like fix the problem, and then underneath it is a picture of Bear Grylls going, improvise, adapt, overcome.
I haven't seen that meme.
Oh my god. You know what? When this goes live, I'm going to put so many of those on.
All
many.
on the...
I am the meme queen. It's going to fucking happen, y'all.
Meme
it's
queen.
Meme queen, y'all. Meme queen.
Meme queen.
This is, you know what? This is only my second drink too. This is a problem. Anyway, so the second one is our acts of service. So what it means to have that as your love language. Well, you know what? You are a helper. And so maybe you're really helping out your partner by fisting them. So aside from fisting, you're doing things like oh God, of course.
Everybody gets one.
You're fixing, not fisting, fixing their car. You're driving them to doctor's appointments, maybe after the fisting goes awry.
Yeah.
You know, you're running errands for them. Maybe it's the lube for the fisting.
Maybe you're cleaning the house.
Exactly. You're cleaning the house. You're cooking dinner. You're kind of the opposite of words of affirmation. You think actions speak louder than words. So you're going to do things for them. And it's very clear to have that distinction that we're talking about useful, helpful things you're doing for them, so we don't confuse it with the third love language, which is gift giving. So if you are with somebody who has acts of service as a love language, that means your car is getting fixed or you're getting fisted if that's what you want. They're cooking you dinner. They're taking care of you when you're
cleaning
sick.
the house.
They're cleaning up your house.
That's what Michael wants. He's acts of service, wants to receive that sort of thing.
Hey, nothing wrong
and
with that.
And I try. It's hard when I'm never home.
But still, though, you work like a dog to try to clean up the house and cook dinners and all that lovely stuff.
I try. Try being the word.
Hey, as long as we're trying, it always makes me think of the Futurama quote where it's like, I'm trying my best. Yeah, well, your best is an idiot's. But it's okay. It's okay if your best is an idiot, as long as you're trying.
My best is a goddamn idiot.
Right?
My best is tired. My best has no time.
I was about to say, your best is working 50 plus hours a week, so...
I guess let's see, 52 plus 7 hours is...
Yeah, we'll round that up to 60. That's some crazy shit
well, also,
right
if you add travel time of an hour and a half one way, hour and a half the other way.
You're basically just never home then. Like that's
nope.
Like you're tacking on like 80 hours a week easy away from the house. That's crazy. Yeah. So if you're able to do anything on top of being away from the house 80 hours a week, like good on you. So when it comes to feeling unloved, this is an interesting one because it's kind of a two-way street. They might not feel loved if you're not doing the acts of service back, but some acts of service people don't need service back to feel loved, although some do, and some will feel resentful that they're doing all this work and you're not doing the same. For some of them, it's actually about gratitude. They're not going to feel loved if you're not expressing appreciation for the acts of service. So it can be both. Maybe they don't feel loved because they're not being appreciated and you're not doing it back, or maybe it's just one or the other. And then from there, we get to receiving gifts or gift giving, which I think people can sometimes confuse with acts of service because giving a gift kind of seems like an act of service, doesn't it? But the idea here is, it really is, I'm giving you something, whereas acts of service is about being helpful. So these gifts don't have to be material. Maybe they picked you flowers. Maybe they found like a really cool rock and they're like, oh, this made me think of you. And like they hand it to you or something like that. But it means that if this is your love language, it means that you are the one who is always broke because you're constantly finding things at the store that made me think of you. And so you buy it for them. Christmas is a big deal for you. You want to go all in, even if it is handmade gifts, you're making food for them or something like that. You go all out because, this is the holiday of my love language. Fuck yeah.
That's me. And I've had to learn to Except that I'm poor. I can't. I want to give everyone gifts for no reason, just because I wish I was rich, just so I could buy my friends gifts.
You know what? I feel like that should be like, you know how some nonprofits have to apply for grants and what have you, and they have to explain why and la la la. Like, I would love for there to be like personal grants, like especially if you're the kind of person who loves to give others gifts. Like, I just want to make people happy by buying them things. Well, fuck, here's $1,000 a month and a stipend at the end. Like,
And sometimes it can be free. So like one of the things that I did recently is one of my friends, Brittany. She's also my coworker. She is getting married in a couple weeks, and she was stressed, and she was talking about place cards and said that she hadn't ordered them yet. They needed to figure it out. And I said, well, I could just do them for you because I dabble a little bit in calligraphy.
oh, what's up?
And she was like, no, I can't have you do that. That's like 140 people. And I said, that's not that many. I could do that, no problem, in 2 weeks.
Written, like,
Yeah, so
God bless you.
she said, I thought about it, but I didn't want to ask you because I thought it would be too much. And I said, no, I'll do it. I have no problem. I managed to do it in a few days. I did it at work, like on my lunch break, and
That's
and it made her
awesome.
super happy, and it made me happy, and it costs nothing except,
there you
a
go.
little time
That's
on my lunch break, a little time on the downtime at work.
Right. You know what? If you have to be there, regardless as to whether or not there's work for you, like,
Yeah.
make yourself useful. Like,
Yeah.
I remember, especially when I had an office job, there was a lot of downtime, and like, it's like, well, it's not like I get to go home. Well, guess I'm looking up recipes, or I'm like writing something in the blog.
Yep.
Like, you make yourself useful. But see, that is a beautiful thing. Like, if you are a receiving gift person and you are not financially abundant, if you will, there are abundant, if you will, there are ways around it. So as you can imagine, if you have a partner who is a gift giver, they're making it rain for you. They're the ones who are buying you things, or like, even if they're like, I went to the store and there was this candy bar that they just came out with and it made me think of you, so here's a candy bar. Like,
I try and always buy orange Tic Tacs at the store for Michael.
oh,
The
that's
big
adorable.
one.
Oh, I know what you mean. The one Isaac has one of those at home too, and every once in a while, especially if I have coffee breath, he'll kind of shake it at me, and I'm like, "You're an asshole," but I love you. But now, when it comes to making them feel unloved, it's actually similar to acts of service. It's a two-way. It can go one or both of two ways. One of them is maybe you're not a gift giver back, and so they're feeling a little resentful, like, oh my God, I give you all these things. I'm always thinking of you, and you like never get me anything, or your gifts suck on Christmas. They're not thoughtful. You give me a fucking gift card, like what the hell? But it doesn't always have to be that way. For a lot of people, if you are a gift giver, you will feel unloved if there is no appreciation for the gift, or if there's no gratitude, if they don't seem happy about it, if they're just like, oh, what this lovely trinket, I guess, let me, toss this in the bin for goodwill. Like, that's how you're going to make them feel pretty unloved. Now, from here, we go to quality time. So if this is your love language, you just want to be around your loved ones constantly, and you want their undivided attention. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're constantly like staring into each other's eyes and like getting super intense and like staring contests, which I've actually learned I will lose against Isaac because he's fucking autistic. So he just shuts off his humanity and just stares me into my soul. And then I'm like, okay, stop. Like, I kid you not, at church last week, I put my hands over his face and said, stop, after church got out, because we were talking about somebody we know who will just like stare at you and like not really do the usual social cues.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, that's really uncomfortable. And he's like, it's not for me, because, autistic, he doesn't care. And then he was like, he started doing a staring contest. I do a staring contest back. And I'm like, okay, this is really uncomfortable. Okay, I'm going to stop. I want you to stop too. Please stop. Oh my God, stop. And then I'm putting my hands over his face. And one of my friends saw me do that, and he just comes over and he's like, okay, I guess I'm putting my hands on Isaac's face too. And, but anyways, interestingly,
Fun church moment.
right. You know what? I go to a fun church.
Meanwhile, for me at Temple, it would be like secretly, like quietly talking shit about other people.
Hey, you know what? That happens too at my church. I am not gonna, there will be no stone casting over here, because there's definitely a lot of gossip. coincidentally enough, Isaac is a huge quality time person, like humongous.
Sidebar.
Yeah.
I just got a text from Brittany and said that a coworker that shall remain nameless was at a place and is drunk, and I am so jealous. It's like seeing people in the wild.
That's all, like seeing like your grade school teacher.
Oh my God,
at
if
a
I saw
bar
like my
and-
boss drunk.
Oh boy.
Well, although I think I've seen him like kind of drunk because like I serve their dinner parties and the booze is always flowing. Anyway, as you were saying.
Anywho, back to that quality time. So they need kind of undivided attention. It doesn't have to be staring contests, Isaac. But it could be, you know, maybe you're watching a movie together. But the thing is, you can't be distracted. Like, you could be watching the movie together, but if somebody picks up their phone, oh, I'm so terrible about that. Poor Isaac.
This is where me and Abby are good, we're a good match for friends.
Yin and yangs,
We'll watch Lost, but both be staring at our phone.
We'll be like shopping Wish and Amazon and what have you, or we'll like paint our nails because we've got horrible attention spans, and I don't think either of us can really.
We're kind of paying attention, and we just like being in each other's presence, and making comments.
Exactly, and I mean we're still watching the show. I'm having such a good time.
Yeah,
with
our
Lost
ADD brains can multitask.
Exactly. But if you're a quality time person, you're going to feel ignored, which kind of jumps into the how you make them feel unloved. If you're not making time for them, or when you're around them, you're really not present. You're responding to text messages. You're doing this, that, and the other thing. You're going to make them feel neglected. Now, last but not least is physical touch. And that is my love language to the motherfucking extreme.
Up top.
Right? So, as you can imagine, somebody who has this love language is huge. They're a hugger. They like to snuggle. They want to hold hands. They want to touch. Oh my God. It is just funny how, I am literally a touchy person. Especially if I've had a few drinks in me. Like, it's so, because Isaac always knows when I'm.
Keep drinking, Abby.
Oh, I mean, we've snuggled a ton of times anyways. Like, because again, I love the physical touch. And if I feel very connected with somebody and I love somebody, I'm going to want to touch them. That's actually a really good sign for me. Like, I can always tell my body language around people, and that lets me know how connected I feel with them or how loved I feel around them. Because if I'm like feeling really just kind of like stiff and uncomfortable and like I have personal space and I need my bubble around them, they're really not people I should be around.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel safe with them. I don't feel loved by them. But if I'm around people and I'm like hugs and hand holding and I'm gonna kiss you on the temple, I love you,
I'm gonna slap your ass.
Right? Well, maybe not that one. But I'm okay if they slap my ass, that kind of thing. Then I know it's like, okay, I'm around my people. And Isaac always knows when I've had too much to drink because I become like the biggest snuggle bug. And because he doesn't drink at all too, so he'll be able to witness this stone sober. And then all of a sudden I'm up against him and all that stuff. And he's like, you've had a few to drink, haven't you? I'm like, yeah. And I think of, especially when last time I was in Chicago to see my childhood best friend, we went out to this cider bar and we got a little too drunk for our own good. Because it's cider and cider is amazing. And just on the way back, I keep wrapping my arm around her and kissing her on the temple and telling her how much I love her and all that. Which, by the way, second place for me is words of affirmation. Like, I'm a huge touch person, but second place is definitely words of affirmation. So I will be the kind of person who's just like, you're so special to me. I'm so happy I have you in my life. La, 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 la. After I'm done, like, snuggling the ever-living shit out of you.
I get uncomfortable when people start telling me that those sort of words of affirmation, unless it's like Michael. I think because like the words of affirmation are generally like compliments and stuff. Not that I don't appreciate it or like hearing it. It's just I feel like it puts me on the spot and it makes me feel, if I like confirm it, I feel immodest.
No, it's understandable.
That they're always like, "Oh, you're so wonderful," or "You
and if
do
you do
this,
anything
blah,
other
blah, blah."
than like
and I'm
blush,
just like,
and you're like, "Oh, shucks."
I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to say, "Oh, thank you." I say thank you, but I also like saying thank you means like that I acknowledge.
It's like out of Mean Girls. So you admit it. You think you're really pretty.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
You know, it's funny. Like for a words of affirmation person, it took only like relatively recently for me to be comfortable giving compliments to people that I have not known, that I haven't known for like my entire
I
life.
can compliment the shit out of everyone else, but getting it back.
Oh yeah, that can be a tough one. Like, because I am in the same boat where if somebody starts complimenting me, I'm like, okay, are you actually seeing me? Are you like, you know, like, are you stoned? Are you high? Are you like projecting out? Like, it always makes me really uncomfortable when people tell me like, oh, you're perfect. Like, no, oh God, you are not paying attention then. Shit. Maybe I should not be around you because you're a terrible judge of character. But when it comes to like compliments, I realized, I think it was about this time last year, I realized, wow, it's really tough for me to compliment people even if I want to compliment them. I was like, why is that? Well, it's because it's so much of a love language for me that's actually vulnerable for me to tell somebody, you know, oh, you're awesome. I love that dress on you. You're special to me. You know, you look really good tonight, that kind of thing. Because it was really vulnerable. And I basically was like, well, fuck that shit. Be vulnerable then.
For me, complimenting other people makes me feel very very dominant. And I love that. It makes me feel like I have a huge dick, which I do.
Big dick energy.
But yeah, I especially like to, you know, especially if it's someone I have just met and I'm feeling like really like confident and cocky, I'd be like, you're rocking that dress, girl.
Right?
Like, you do it.
And I mean, that's an awesome thing. And that's actually when I was my second to last or most recent hike, I passed somebody and I noticed that she had a really cool sleeve. And I just immediately went, like, I hadn't even said hi to her. I was just like, I like your ink. Like, that was my talk by at her as she's going up the mountain, I'm going down the mountain. But it really is like, I mean, I think you brighten somebody's day if you point that stuff out.
There was this guy, I was in Manchester, and I was at a stoplight, and I saw this guy crossing the crosswalk, and he was wearing these, like, chunky heels, like a fishnet sort of top with, like, a crop top underneath.
Get it, boy?
And he had, like, the swagger sort of walk and the heels. And I wanted to roll down I was very close to rolling down my window, and saying, slay, slay, queen, slay. But then I saw he had earbuds in and he wasn't going to hear me. And I was like, damn.
But it's all good. But I do want to add in, going back to physical touch, what makes them feel unloved. Because I feel like physical touch people are probably the most all or nothing of the 5 love languages. Because if your physical touch is rejected, if you're with somebody and you go in for a snuggle and they're like, oh, I need my personal space, or you try to hold their hand and they pull their hand back, you feel so rejected. And it doesn't matter how many gifts you're getting or how much time you spend with them or how much they do for you or even how often they tell you they love you. If you reject them physically, that's fucking it. And unless
you learn to adapt.
This is improvise, adapt, overcome.
Yes. Numero uno example. Wow. I am such a physical person. Mm-hmm. And Michael is he needs his personal space. Mm-hmm. I love to snuggle. If I could snuggle him all night, I would be so happy. Nope. No, he's in bed when he's just like, I'm in bed. It's time for sleep. He says, no hot touch. No touch, hot. No touch. And I'm just like, okay. But I mean, we've been together for almost 6 years.
Yeah, and improvise, adapt, overcome.
Yeah, I've learned to adapt, to understand what his love language is, and to get more satisfaction from the other love languages that I do speak and feel satisfaction from. And it's helped me to, adapt, overcome, and learn how he's showing me that he loves me and that he knows that I do crave physical attention. So when I know he's in a good mood, I'll get some snuggles and I can. But right now it's fucking hot. We don't have air conditioning in this house except for in our bed. So it's like I tried to like cuddle up on him. He was like, "What are you doing?" No.
Well, I feel that one as well. Like if it's too hot, like especially since I'm like a space heater,
Yeah.
it is actually really tough for me to be physically close with people, which actually becomes this horrible conundrum because I'm like, I want to snuggle, but at the same time, I'm sweating bullets and I hate the heat. And I'm, this might be a sign that I'm really not good at adapting and overcoming, because if I am with somebody romantically and they're not a touch kind of person, it's a deal breaker. It really is. Like
At least it was touch at first.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
And I honestly really lucked out because, so apparently Isaac was not much of a cuddler before he met me.
Oh.
And which is kind of a shock. Anyone who's ever seen us together, we're very physical. But apparently there was something about me that made him a very snuggly and cuddly person.
Look at you.
I know. Did I change a man? I think that means I changed
Did
a
I
man.
change a man?
Oh, mercy me. I have the vapors.
I do declare.
I do declare I changed a man. But that actually is a wonderful segue into navigating different love languages, because more often than not, you're going to be with somebody who doesn't have the same love languages as you, or at least doesn't have the same primary one.
Like you could have everything in the world in common.
Mm-hmm.
Sports, TV shows,
Sense of humor,
movies,
values in life,
books.
Yeah.
Maybe you're into the opera. I don't like 100% in common, except for your love languages.
And that could mean that could be a great unraveling for your relationship if you do not improvise, adapt, and overcome. So actually, a great
Podcast title.
I know, right?
For the episode.
What's up? So a great example actually is Isaac and I, because we have the physical touch part down. But at the same time, again, so my husband, if you haven't figured it out yet, is autistic. And like the cool thing is that you wouldn't notice.
That's not like
And
he
I'm not-
actually.
He is legitimately on the spectrum. I'm not saying like, oh my God, my husband's autistic,
Yeah.
and I'm saying it as an insult. I mean, literally, my husband's on the spectrum. He's super high functioning. If you didn't know that he was autistic, you would just think he was a little, out there and outrageous.
You might think he's an asshole.
Yeah. Because he'll just say what he
Because
thinks.
he'll tell you that too. I'm not
Exactly.
like just throwing it out there.
That's one of the beautiful things about Isaac. Like, because there are people who will meet Isaac for the first time and they'll be like, I don't really know if he likes me or not. I'm like, trust me, if he didn't like you,
he would have told you.
He would have told you. He would not be putting effort into talking to you because he would decide you were not worth his time.
He would have said, I'm done with this conversation. Goodbye.
Basically, which has happened, and like even like at cashiers at CVS, and it's caused friction because I'd be like, oh my God,
you're like,
you've just abandoned the CVS cashier and I'm going to stay behind and apologize. Great.
Another sidebar.
Yeah.
Fun example of Isaac and his lovable autism.
Yes.
Is Abby and Isaac graciously hosted a Jack and Jill bridal shower for a mutual friend of ours, Noam, and her fiance, Avi. And they're Israeli, and they have a lot of Israeli friends, so there were a lot of Israelis at this luncheon. And Isaac like yelled at them. They went outside to go smoke.
Yeah,
And
I remember this.
he was like, off the porch! Go into the yard! Like, really, like, he does not know these people.
Yeah,
One,
and
it is his home. But two, he does not know these people. And he is, like, yelling very aggressively.
Yes.
And I said, oh, thank God they're Israelis.
Right, they're used to this aggressiveness.
They're used to it. They're like, okay, it's his house. Whatever, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Americans would be like,
Oh, they would have been like,
dare.
yeah. Oh, they would have been
my
beside
God.
themselves. Which, in some ways, is a perfect yin to my yang because I am so non-confrontational and
Yeah.
so passive. Like, I am the type of person where it takes work for me to even do the most moderate pushback where it is totally within my right to push back. So it's kind of nice to have that. But again, so I mention all this because sometimes he does get overstimulated and touch is just not an option for him because like, oh no, I'm overstimulated and I need time to kind of like, process and deal and cope. And so that can feel a lot like rejection. And again, he's a quality time person. He wants lots and lots of time together. And I'm one of those people that unless we're doing words of affirmation or touch or something like that, quality time can be really rough for me. Like, because I don't want to sit and watch TV all day. I want to go and do stuff. We want to do stuff together. Let's do it. And so you can clash that way. And we definitely have clashed that way. But then you learn to kind of navigate it. Like, all right, no, we're going to watch some TV together. And it's really not my love language, but I know it matters to you. So we're going to do that for an episode or two. And then maybe we're snuggling while we're watching the TV show. And then I'm getting my physical touch. And then maybe we're, doing a different type of quality time together. Because I do love quality time, but it has to be very active. So like maybe we'll go on a drive together or something like that. So you really just have to learn, like, okay, what is my partner's love language? What is their primary love language? What's secondary for them? What's dead fucking last? And unfortunately, quality time for me is probably last. Maybe gift giving is probably like tied with gift giving is last. And you navigate around that. And it is okay if it doesn't come naturally to you. I think one of the biggest misconceptions we can do is say, if it doesn't come naturally, we're not going to fucking do it at all. Especially in relationships. Like, oh, well, if it doesn't naturally come to me to spend time with them or help them out or do this and that, then I'm just not. And then relationships fall apart because relationships take work, and sometimes it means you're doing things that doesn't feel like it's not your instinct, but it's important, so you do it anyway.
And I think that, adapting in a relationship, learning each other's love languages, not only does it help you in your romantic relationships, it helps you with your friendships. This is something that you need to adapt with your friendships because you can have really good quality friendships with people, and love languages goes further. It goes to friendships. To find like
platonic love.
Exactly. Like just finding that what we need to get from each other. Like the way I show love to a lot of my friends is through cooking.
And I've appreciated that cooking on many, many a night.
Cooking, or like, for example, me and Abby watching Lost together. We might not be talking to each other or looking at each other or even at the TV, but just being in each other's presence is enough. It's just like learning, and it's just appreciating getting all these different kinds of love from your friends.
And honestly, I think that is...
And your partners.
Exactly. And I honestly think that is one of the most beautiful types of love to do, is the deliberate one where you go, okay, this isn't naturally me, but I know it matters to them and I love them, so I want them to feel loved. So I'm going to do this. I think that's actually more beautiful and more poignant than, oh, well, they're naturally a words of affirmation person. I'm naturally a words of affirmation person. I don't have to put any fucking effort into this. I mean, it's kind of fun and easy when you're in a situation like that, but I think it's actually more meaningful if you have those times where you're going, no, you know what? I'm doing it because I know it matters to you. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, same.
So, hey.
Good episode,
y'all. I hope you go home and you love your partner in the way they want to be loved, which might be fisting. Oh, I brought it back.
Or just thinking about love languages and how it pertains to your friendships.
Exactly.
Or even not just your friendships, your relationships with your mother, your dad, your siblings.
Even your coworkers.
Yeah,
maybe
your
it's not love,
coworkers.
but maybe they need to feel appreciated and like they belong.
Exactly. So funny enough, well, not funny, I'm just so thankful that we haven't posted an episode in quite a while. But we didn't lose listeners. We gained listeners. We went up.
That's awesome.
I know.
And the funniest thing is I had somebody, a friend, actually reach out today of all days and ask about another episode. And I was like, perfect fucking timing. We're actually recording tonight.
So thanks for sticking around.
Right.
We appreciate it.
This is sticking around is our love language, at least when it comes to this podcast.
So you can follow us on social media. We have Facebook, Cheers to Adulting. Instagram, Cheers to Adulting Podcast. Twitter that we never use. Cheers number 2 adult. Cheers.
We're so close.
Cheers,
Number 2 adulting.
You can email us send us questions, ideas for episodes, or any stories you'd like to share about adulting you did or
We
didn't
love
do.
sharing those stories, guys. We really do.
Cheers to adulting at
gmail.com.
gmail.com. You can watch our lovely faces on YouTube. Cheers to adulting. Is that it?
I think that's it.
If you would like to be one of our first sponsors on Patreon. To help, fund our drinking and eating habits.
Right? And honestly, even our hosting, like hosting our website, hosting the podcast, this is a labor of love.
We can do more.
Right? We have talked many a time where our schedules will be packed to the gills and we're like, yeah, if we were actually getting paid to do this, we maybe be able to clear out a schedule more.
Yeah.
But because this is a hobby for us and we're the one paying the money, it's just next week.
You'd help us host.
Right? Maybe more episodes, y'all.
Yeah. We have a website that
I think it's down, but not out.
it's a thing.
We'll fix that noise at some point.
Well, on that note,
cheers
to adulting.
Cheers to adulting.